Hello and welcome back, everybody. Here we are going to look at the derivative of the absolute value function. Let's write that down. Our function f of x is the absolute value, which is defined as the square root of the square of x. And we can also write this as x to the square to the half. And in this form, we can easily find a derivative using the chain rule, but we have to be careful at one point, because this derivative is not defined at the point 0. So let's first use our chain rule. We get a half times x to the square to the minus a half, which is also 1 over the root, times 2x. Now this 2 kills this half, and we are left with x over the square root of x to the square, which is x over the absolute value of x. So this was easy, but now let's look at the absolute value here, and we see that we are not allowed to plug in 0, because if we did, we would divide by 0, and this means that the derivative of this function is not defined at 0. And we can look at the plot to sort of see what's happening. So for positive values of x, we are getting values that lie on the positive diagonal here. And for negative values of x, we get values that lie on the negative diagonal. And we see that the derivative on the positive side is 1. And it is minus 1 on the negative side. And it is not defined at the point 0. And if you remember, the derivative is defined as the following limit. The derivative of a function at a point P is defined as the limit x approaches P, f of x minus f of P over x minus P. And it is crucial that we have the same value for this limit, no matter if we approach it from the left or from the right. So let's plug in our absolute value function, the absolute value minus, and our point P, of course, is 0, minus 0, over x minus 0. And of course, we can write this as the absolute value of x over x. And we see that if we plug in negative values, we get minus 1. And if we plug in positive values, we get plus 1. So this is essentially the same thing that we saw here in the plot. And this really is the one thing to remember about the derivative of the absolute value function. And this concludes our lecture. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.